Oh
Hey,
no, we're
welcome.
live.
Yeah, we're live. Welcome to the Njoycast podcast. Um, I don't have my little name badge up and stuff. Oh well,
Oh, who
maybe
gives a
I'll
shit?
I'll screw around with it while we're talking because we have a very content-filled show this week, I'm sure.
Way to sell them on it. Usually, it was like the sarcasm is it's a pretty good draw. Like, yeah, I bet the show will be great.
It'll
Thanks
be.
for thanks for coming by.
What the hell is going on?
I don't know.
I hear myself talking.
Cool. I
Yeah,
saw a thing like pop up, but it just said
it's
something about toolbars.
yeah. It apparently I had a had the YouTube page open in the background and everything's delayed, so like we're a minute or two in, and all of a sudden I hear myself talking, say, "Welcome to the show." Whoa,
That's actually a pretty good way to like if you don't have any friends, you can just be your own friend and talk to yourself
I
on the
like that.
way.
I'm gonna sit here one day and craft all these like questions that could also be answers to the exact same question. So when you hear it back, it's like an actual conversation.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, well,
weird. All right. So, what have we been up to?
so
It's been a week.
you've got a PC on the way.
I do.
You're gonna become one of us.
One of Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. Like, uh, my brother came. Hey, speak of the devil, finally shut off. Um, like I went to work one day, and my brother came into my room to get like an HDMI cable because I had a spare, and he had toyed with the idea of like getting me a computer for my birthday, but he wasn't really planning on doing it. And then he just like he heard like how loud and like my computer should have been like hibernating, like it should have been in that mode where it sort of powers down, and it still sounded like it was going to blow up. And he was like, "Hey, I gotta get him a new computer." And so that was really nice of him. And so we bought all the parts or whatever, and we'll build it on Friday.
And
And
what's the first game you plan to play on it?
well, before I would have said Mega Man, but
Yeah, I heard.
apparently the Mega Man Legacy is fucking busted on Steam. So I don't know. I'm not. It's not. It's not like this powerhouse build. I don't think I'll be able to like play everything on it. It'll be interesting though. My graphics card came with a free code for Metal Gear Solid 5,
Yeah, see, that's what I was
which
fishing at right there. Of
yeah,
course,
and
that doesn't come out till is it? I thought I saw Monday.
September 1st.
Yeah, or no, I
Yeah,
guess
it's
that's
the first.
Tuesday. Yeah,
Yeah. Um, and like I think that would be a good test to see if my computer could actually play that. I don't know if it can. I know the graphics card is capable of it, but I don't know if the other parts are.
price range wise, yours is right about the same cost that mine was, and so far I've been able to run everything fine. I think The
Yeah.
Witcher 3 is the only thing I don't run on like ultra settings, and even then it's close. But
Yeah.
of course, yours had the
Mon-
price of a monitor in it too. It sounds like I didn't
Yeah,
buy a monitor.
monitor and Windows, like with those included, it was like 991 bucks,
Mhm.
which
I think
is,
you'll be surprised what it can run.
yeah, I think it'll be okay. I just I I part of me wanting a new computer, it has surprisingly little to do with gaming. Like
Yeah.
like that'll be a nice perk, but really I want to watch streams without the fucking my computer dying. And but yeah, pretty much streams. That's the big one. And maybe
I was gonna lie to myself and say finally we'll have somebody watching my streams, but you still won't watch. You'll be like, eh.
I thought about that and how this actually kind of kills my excuse for not watching your streams. It's because right now it's pretty much impossible. Like unless you're playing like a really slow paced game, like I really can't like follow what's going on. Like I remember trying to watch you play Rocket League once and fucking wasn't happening. It was like trying to play Rocket League. It just your guys just jumping all around and it fucking sucked.
Yeah. It's basically the mental process of Rocket League, where you're like, oh, the ball's here. Wait, no, now it's
Yeah.
over here. But yeah, that'll be
So
cool.
yeah, and hopefully that'll mean a little more. I would like to set that up to start streaming if it can
Mhm.
handle it. That's pretty intensive, but I think it'll be okay for certain things. Um, yeah, and that should also give us a little more freedom to like what type of content we're doing for the site, like this show and how we do
Right,
the
that's what
show.
I said on Twitter. Kind of crossing my fingers that this will be our last week on Google Plus, and we can be real streamers and move to Twitch next week.
Yeah. Hopefully with that sort of setup too, we can also do some like actual game streams where it's not just one dude jaw jacking and you know you can bring people onto the show because I think
That would be
doing
wonderful.
because I have a pretty good idea of how to do that, but I've never had the equipment for it,
Right.
so hopefully that'll be good enough.
So
If
we're
not, I have
things
money.
are
So
evolving.
yeah, finally after fucking 5 years on this website, we're getting somewhere.
The kicker is that'll open a whole new world of like $5 Steam games to you, and you think, oh, that's great, cheaper games, but that means you have less
Yeah.
money because you just, oh, I'll buy
I'm
this one. Oh, I'll buy this one.
Well, that's sort of what I was thinking about, and I was talking to my brother. Like, on one hand, it's really cool, and obviously, I wouldn't change anything about it. Like, I'm getting a fucking computer, and it's awesome. But on the other hand, it was like the computer was always the thing that was just over the horizon. Like that's what I've always like been kind of working towards is like eventually, I want to get that computer. And now I don't really know what I want to spend money on.
Games.
Um, Yeah,
Well,
but I'm even like
just
looking at this year and how many games I actually am interested in. It's pretty small. Like
yeah.
I've already played a fair bit this year, and the games I'm interested in, I'm really excited for. But they're also games that it's like it'll take me months to probably beat them. You
Right.
know?
Like I was looking at that Metal Gear, I'm actually getting more and more interested in. Um,
Yeah,
Until Dawn has me intrigued, but I can't play that because I don't have a PlayStation 4. But that's one of those games that the reviews dropped this week or the end of last, and everybody that I've see talk about it is either like, "Oh my gosh, this game is so amazing! It's so different! It's a must play," or they're like, "Man, this game completely sucks! It's terrible." There's not a whole lot of in between that I've been seeing, and that always like that gets your curiosity
polarizing.
going. Yeah, you're like,
Yeah, like
well,
that a reception where it's just like, well, maybe I'm one of those people who really is interested in this.
right.
Um, Yeah, I
But
don't know.
but then
It depends. Like,
with Metal Gear, by the time you get through that, Fallout 4 should be here or very close.
I don't even know how like I'm going to get through The Witcher,
Well,
and
yeah, there's that.
and I gave you so much shit, but I actually genuinely don't know how I'm going to beat that game. Like, because I'm exhausted by I really like it, but I'm exhausted by the idea of playing it right now. So I haven't played it for a couple of days, and it's just that thing of like when I get back into it, I know it's going to fucking just like it feels like I'm always just barely scratching at the surface, and I'm always like, how much progress did I actually make in this? I just killed some fucking werewolves.
I think that's the thing. It's so daunting. I like I said, I play it about once a week, and even then, I'm only playing it for like a half hour at a time. 40. Basically, I go into it. You do one like quest chain. You realize how little that matters in the grand scheme of things, and how much more there is to it. And you're like, I have Rocket League right here,
Yeah,
or Heroes is what I've been playing, but same thing. It's like, well, this is very like crushingly daunting in its scope, but I have this mindless game I could fire up instead and play that.
right. The thing is, I don't really have anything else really to play right now. I have a lot of stuff like that'll be out in a week that I'm interested in. So I took like kind of like since I'm not really feeling The Witcher right now, I took the opportunity to start playing Kirby and the Rainbow Curse for the Wii U,
Okay, Derek.
and it fucking sucks. Like I fucking hate Kirby. I think that's what I realized is like,
I think the very first Kirby, and I think that was just called Kirby.
yeah, just
Um,
Kirby.
I liked it, but at the time, you know, a little anyway, and it was a decent platformer, and it was just different. So you're like, oh yeah, it's novel, and I don't think I've liked a Kirby ever since, and I really don't like the character of Kirby either.
Well, what's his character? And just a
Well,
fucking
exactly.
little cute ball. Um, but I think it says something that like even when they have this mechanic, which I mean, it's not a new mechanic; it's a sequel to Canvas Curse on the DS, but like it's a still a pretty unique way to approach that character where it's like you're drawing his path and you're just sort of tapping him and it's not, you flying everywhere and shit. Um, I think it says something about just how much I hate the fucking level design of Kirby, if even that's not enough. Because it's still a Kirby level where, like, the paths are all really narrow and then like the fucking everything feels like it just takes a little too long. Like, why is he rolling so slow? Why does breaking the block take two hits instead of one? Like, why do I have to charge this up to break these blocks? And it's this really weird mechanic of like, I'm sorry, I'm getting echo, so I'm getting thrown off by my own voice. But it's this really weird mechanic of like the only way Kirby is even playable for me is if I don't try to do everything and I just sort of try to play A to B, which isn't satisfying at all.
No, because they tend to
Um,
be pretty easy games that way. Like,
yeah, but if I try to do everything, if I try to collect everything, it's fucking atrocious. It everything feels like it takes too long, or it's just like psychotically unfair. Like this game has like treasure chests you find, and in the treasure chests are just stupid fucking figurines, and they're useless, but it's the collectible of this game. So you're trying to find them all in every level, but you find ones that are like time trial challenges, and it's like unlike a game like Donkey Kong or something where it's like these time trials, there's a believable shot that you can complete it your first try. You might not, it might be too hard, but you have a shot at it. Like Kirby, it's like there's no way I would get this done the first try. There's no way I would be able to like figure out what I'm supposed to do in like 10 seconds.
that was one of my, if you remember, big rants about Ori and the Blind Forest. And I love the game. It's still up there for my game of the year. But there's one level at the beginning everybody talked about, and there's one towards the end that's kind of similar. And the one at the end I thought was worse, where it felt like there was no matter how good you were at the game or how good your reflexes were, it was trial and error. You were going to just keep
Right.
doing it and it's probably not true. There's probably people out there that do have the reflexes or whatever to get through it. But I mean, it's not realistic for most people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be realistic that you can get through on the first try, but like you said, it should feel like you could. When you're running into things like you had no idea, you're no way that like no real good cues on what you were supposed to do until you've died a few times and you like can see. um I don't know. I didn't like that at
Well,
all.
well, if you're gonna design it that way, then like you should be able to re-enter that challenge. And the problem with Kirby is that you can't go back into that room unless you die, and then it has to like reset the entire fucking deal. Um, that's not fucking fair.
No, that
Like,
would be even worse. Like at least Ori had a real quick restart and uh, the I don't remember the first one. The last level, it was like all or nothing shot. There was no checkpoints, but all said and done, it was like a minute and a half or 2 minute long series. I mean, it wasn't real long anyway, even from beginning to end. But yeah, if I had to like intentionally kill myself so I could start the whole level over again to go back and find it, that just sounds
yeah.
terrible.
Well, the problem is like you don't have to restart the entire level. It's like a room within a room type checkpoint. So every time you enter a room, where it'll save you. So like if you just die, then you can go back into it and it's not much of a backtrack, but it still uses a life system. So if you run out of lives, then you do have to restart it all, which I've never been in danger of getting a game over, but like dying sounds so much more tedious than just saying fuck it, I don't want the chest, let it,
Yeah.
screw it, I'm gonna just go finish the level. And I would say I'm probably about halfway through the game. Well, I got about halfway through the game, and I didn't even end it on like a bad note, really, where like I finished the level I was playing, and then I was like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Fucking pulled the game out, just fucking put it back on the shelf. Probably won't touch it again.
Yeah.
Uh, like at least not for free. Um, so yeah, it's pretty. I think I just don't like Kirby's design that way, where it's like it feels like either atrociously unfair if you're actually trying to embrace the challenge of it, or it's stupid easy if you just try to play it casually. Like there's no middle ground of like, well, it's a little hard, but it's also, kind of relaxing and fun. Like no, it just feels like neither aspect, at least of that game, um, like it feels like neither it's satisfying to either audience.
Yeah.
So
Well, maybe it's perfect because they figure if you like a Kirby game, you're either a little kid or there's something mentally wrong with you and you want that like a regular gamer doesn't want this game anyway.
yeah, well, but I'd say both are true.
Yeah.
Or you're a little kid and there's something wrong with you.
No,
Namely,
yeah.
you're a
I can
little
see Kirby.
kid.
Right.
If you're a little
I th-
kid, you're fucked.
I think the National Psycholog I don't know. The whoever that they've deemed being a kid like an actual mental
Mental dis.
illness. Yeah.
There's not much
But
we can do about it, unfortunately.
no.
Hopefully, your shitty little brain grows and
Or doesn't, and you end up on the Enjoystick podcast.
yeah, then you become one of us. They send
uh,
fucking kids who have no hope of ever evolving. They send them over to us.
I
There
keep
have been
saying
at least 8 Bens and like 20 Steves over the years, and
it's like
we just get
the whole
replaced.
yeah, that's like Doctor Who. After each series, people are wondering who the next Ben and Steve will be.
Me too.
Yeah. Waiting for my contract to expire.
I wonder,
So
are you a Whovian, Steve?
no, not at
Okay.
all. I don't know. That's one of those shows that I probably wouldn't dislike it, but it's so hard for me to like commit to a new series.
I've only watched like one episode, and I thought it was really pretty stupid.
Well,
Um,
the problem is too, and nobody agrees because it's one of those things like Star Trek or whatever, where it's like, oh well, there's 400,000 different Doctor Who like iterations, and some of them are supposed to be the good ones, and some of them are the bad ones, and I don't know what's supposed to be good or what's supposed to be bad. What we watched was kind of, like I said, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't good enough to make me like care to watch anymore. So.
well, like I don't remember who said it. I think it was some comedian or a podcast I was listening to, where like they described it as Power Rangers as like interpreted by like British people. And that seemed to be like that really struck it for me. Like, yeah, this is really sort of cartoony and dumb and very Saturday morning ish type shit.
Well, yeah, I
But
mean,
they
to
try
put
to
it
make
that
it
way,
like
it's
dapper.
on like Nickelodeon now. I think it's Nick at Night or something. But it's not even like the adult like Nick at Night. It's one of those, or maybe it's like Boomerang or Cartoon Network. But one of those channels is showing episodes of some version of Doctor Who. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I don't think like I think there are some interesting ideas about it, like the Weeping Angels thing. I think we've talked about that on the show. Like the statues who only move when you're not looking at them.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's a fucking great monster. But like, yeah, that's what I liked about The Witcher 3 is they like fucking they threw that in as a little Easter egg at, like outside a cemetery, and that was like you just have these statues, and then you go into a building, you come back out, the statues moved, and like that's I just want that. Like I
Yeah.
want those taken out, and then like Doctor Who can fuck off.
Yeah, so no,
Part,
I've got a lot of friends that are huge Doctor Who fans, but no, not me.
well, I think part of it is I work at a store where every goddamn we have just one of those rotating goddamn things playing in the background every time, so, like all day long. So it's just trailers for shit and stuff and products, and like one of the ones is always like, well, like three of them are all Doctor Who related, and
Yeah,
it's
see,
like,
those things are great in stores because it's a way to maybe entice a customer to buy something and to also guarantee that no employee will be interested in it ever.
yeah. Well, I think it's just like when you're working a long day and like just fucking all you ever hear is blah 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 Hoovian. Just like, and like I hate that term for their fans.
Yeah,
Like, are you a Hoovian? Like, it sounds so fucking manufactured and stupid.
right. I
Uh,
agree. I very much. I
I'm
don't
trying
know
to think
when
of.
it happened, but over the last couple days, my chair's turned into the squeakiest thing ever. I know you can hear it on the microphone.
I
Like,
actually can't, but I'm
oh,
not really
really?
paying it. I hear myself. I hear my own chair, so I don't. I'm probably just assuming it's mine.
And maybe it's not coming through as much as I'm like imagining it because I'm watching my little like meter levels and it's not moving, but man, it's
Right.
annoying me. But yeah. So video game, I almost said that I haven't been playing anything new, but that's a big lie. And the thing that I've been playing, I love. So I don't know how I forgot about it, but it's because I've been playing mostly Heroes of the Storm.
Oh, of course you
And
have.
I know you love when I talk about that on Twitter because,
Well,
like,
I've just started, and I love if anyone who ever hears this joins me. Every time you tweet about it, I'm going to let you know I have no idea what you're saying.
I know, and it's funny because there are like I do have 4 or 5 followers that are even bigger into the game than me, so they know exactly what I'm talking about. And a lot of times conversations will spawn from those tweets. But yeah, I mean they would make absolutely no sense unless you play the game and
Well, yeah,
like
because it's really all. It sounds like fucking like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy shit. It's like, all right, next round was Spider Queen. Like, what the fuck are? What?
yeah.
Who's Spider Queen?
Yeah, and talking about Q builds and
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I won't talk about that. I mean, I play a ton of Heroes of the Storm. A new map actually came out today, and I don't even know the mechanics of it. I'll have to check that out. But the thing that actually came out that it snuck up on me, not because I didn't know it was coming out, but because I've been so busy, I forgot like what day it actually was last week. But Shadowrun Hong Kong came out. That's the third, from the Shadowrun Returns and then Dragonfall, and then Hong Kong was another Kickstarter project from them. And that was one of those that we talked about it a little bit, I think just a week or two ago, because Divinity launched a Kickstarter, and I think it just launched today or yesterday for Divinity 2. And when, it's just something when you have a game that goes to Kickstarter to get made and it's a massive success and turns out to be like critically well received and makes a ton of sales and the Kickstarter was off the charts, and then you turn around for the next sequel and you ask like fans to fund it again, while there's nothing like really wrong with that, to me it just, I don't love it because it feels like, oh yeah, we didn't do our job as a company and like save money to reinvest in ourselves. You do it again. And I mean, it's not that at all. So when Hong Kong was announced as another, Kickstarter, at first I was a little annoyed. Like, pissed would be too strong a word, but I thought, well, that's kind of whatever. But I loved how Hong Kong did it. When you got in and read about it, they funded the game themselves. They were going to make, or, they went out and secured funding. They had a publisher. It was going to be made regardless. But they decided, we'd like to add as many of these features as the fans want as we can. So we'll go to Kickstarter. And if you guys are interested, Kickstarter, it was basically 100% stretch goals. And they were right up front about that too from the get-go, not like the Inafune one that we were just talking about. Red Ash, was that not Red
Yeah.
Ash? It was
Well,
it, yeah. Yeah. The
yeah,
one
it
that,
was,
but so anyway, that was kickstarted, and it's to date the only video game thing I've ever like pledged to through Kickstarter.
yeah.
And then it like kind of sneaks up and comes out, and it's great because you paid for it like a year ago. I don't think it was
Yeah.
quite that long. And then it's like, hey, I've got this game now, and I don't have to pay anything because I already did. Um, and I love it. It's weird because the Shadowrun Returns I loved. We've talked about that before, and it really got me into the whole Shadowrun universe because that's far beyond video games or books and the tabletops and everything thing else. And then Dragonfall came out, and most people like Dragonfall a lot better than they liked Returns, and I just couldn't get into it. Um, but at that point, I started playing Dragonfall right about the time that I pledged to the Kickstarter. So it was like, oh well, I'm happy to pledge to their Kickstarter, but I wasn't sure, if I would end up liking the game as much as I liked Returns, or if I'd be kind of lukewarm to it like I was Dragonfall. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's reminding me of playing the first one, just how much I like it and how much time. It's one of those games that you sit down maybe with the intention of playing for a half hour, and then I'll play for like 4 hours. Um, I streamed a little bit of it Sunday. It's a hard game to stream because there's so much like text dialogue. There's not a lot of voiceover. I don't think there's any voiceovers. So when you're streaming it, you have to sit there and like read the text. I guess you don't have to, but it would.
You're gonna have to take that sort of case by case with your audience, because I know me and my brother are the type of people, we fucking hate when people
Most
read the text.
most people do, but I mean, this is like so much text. There wouldn't be anything to the stream if you don't read it. So I was kind of like skimming through it, but by the time I like really got into playing it, I wasn't sitting there reading word for word, just trying to like convey what's going on because that's the only way you get it is through game text.
Well, I
But
mean, like the worst is like when people try to like do character voices
mhm.
and stuff, and so you got some fucking like annoying asshole just like, oh, please save me, mister. Like, shut the fuck up.
Which is exactly what I was doing, but intention. Well, I kind of quit doing it after about 30 seconds because it's stupid. I was mostly just mocking the characters, but yeah, it's a hard game to stream, but it's a easy game to play. I love it. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard you talk about playing a game that's like in that genre. It's the turn-based. It's kind of tactical. XCOM would be maybe the closest, but that's more strategy than Shadowrun. That's a little more in depth there.
Right.
I guess the Shadowrun's combat's turn-based like that, but when you're outside of combat, then it's more like a point-and-click RPG.
Yeah, like that. It's sort of isometric.
Right, right.
And I think the reason I've never talked about it is because I've never really been able to play one. And like that, and that was kind of when those were really hot. That was during a time where I was, pretty young and like I didn't play PC games at all. Like that was way ahead of my time. And I've tried to go back and play certain ones. Like I've tried to play Fallout, and
Yeah, the tactical, or I guess just probably the regular Fallout was like that, right?
yeah. I've tried to play that. I've tried to, that didn't work. Tried to play Fallout 2. That didn't really click either. Um, it's some like I'm always kind of put off by that genre for some reason, and it's not any one thing I can really think about. It's just like that never grabbed me, and it's like think about it, like how long it took me to even appreciate a strategy game like
Mhm.
XCOM did it. Like I was like, we went a long time on this show where you would talk about all these strategy games you're playing, and I would just be like, oh god, fuck, he's talking about more strategy shit. But then like,
Basically, every game I ever talk about, that's your response to it, though.
not necessarily. I was interested in The Witcher. um I admit that like that's part of what makes this show work is that you play shit I will never touch. It would be pretty boring if we were all just like, hey, we were both playing Mario and we love Mario.
You play that new Call of Duty game? I was shooting people in the face.
That's like a phone call with my dad. Like, you play that new Call of Duty game? I'm playing it. But like So it was like a long time of just like I could not get into them, and then I played XCOM and I thought it was amazing, and
And
I,
now you'll be able to play the new XCOM because you'll have a PC.
that's a fucking great point. When is that out? I
Uh,
completely fucking forgot.
I think it's got. I think there's some time left on it. I don't think it's anytime soon.
Maybe I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, because that I just if you hadn't mentioned, well, I guess I've kind of mentioned XCOM in relation to Shadowrun, but that's a game that I haven't been thinking a lot about, and it's weird because it's like I'm a little disappointed that it's not coming to console, which is stupid because I don't
Because
have a
you can
console
play
that
it.
would right. And but I'm wondering if they'll can include like gamepad support. I loved the gamepad control for
That'd be,
XCOM.
wouldn't that be such a fucking slap in the face though? Like,
Yeah, like we're not bringing it to console. Wait, here's a gamepad support.
yeah, but we're gonna use that. According to the internet, which we can all trust, it is scheduled for November 2015.
Well, shit.
So that's pretty. That
So
is.
we'll get.
Thank you for fucking reminding me. Like I was so
I'm surprised you didn't just
bummed.
like take your headset off and run into the other room and give your brother a bigger hug. Like,
Yeah, dude. Like I was so bummed when they were like, "It's not coming to consoles." It's like, fuck, man. I finally gave your dumb strategy shit a chance, and I loved it, and now you're leaving me. Don't leave me, baby.
I'm curious. I don't know that you would have liked the older games this much. Um,
Oh, probably not. In fact, I know not.
yeah, they were good for at the time, but man, were they? There was so much unfair about the older one. I mean, there's a lot unfair about the new one, but like with the older one, you could literally like get off your your ship. You know, you'd land and you'd like disembark your ship, and then you would get shot and one shotted from an alien from across the map that you can't even see, and it wouldn't reveal where they were because they're out of your line of sight. Like,
Right.
eh,
So apparently, XCOM 2 does have gamepad support,
sweet. So that
which
is
is good
it's
because that's how I want to play it. But it's also
it's weird that they're I forget there was a whole big thing they had explained why they weren't going to bring it to and they in fairness too, I think they've pretty much always said we're not saying it'll never be on console, but
it might
um
be one of those weird things where like you don't get like they give you like a complete edition thing like a year or two after they've like because one of the things they're talking about is like on PC they can easily like add features and levels and shit and like
that was probably it. They probably
they're
got burned by the fact that like Microsoft only lets you like do one patch and then charges you every time you patch
yeah.
stuff and
I mean on one hand I applaud them for just sort of being like look let's make the game just good like and focus on one platform and like we can just focus on making sure it works on that platform because it's got to be we're seeing it with fucking Mega Man Legacy Collection, a goddamn pack of ROMs basically. They're still having trouble getting that to work on everything, so it's pretty hard to do a multi-platform release now.
well, and I think the other thing is it's easy for us to be like, wow, it's weird that they're not going to do it on console. But and I don't have the figures, of course, but for as acclaimed as that game was, and for as many people as I know that loved it, I don't think the sales were very good on console compared to the PC. Um,
Well, that's something I wonder about that though is like how much of that was like did it sell badly or like did apparently they did it did enough to make Enemy Within and resell that, but it's like I like that almost seemed to shoot itself in the foot too because you couldn't just buy Enemy Within like the expansion content. You had to buy a whole new game
yeah.
on the console and stuff, and it's like, well, nobody's going to. I fucking loved Enemy Unknown, but I'm not going to do that. Like I've already played through that game. I'm not going to buy Enemy Within like for full price. Like so, I mean, yeah, it's I still like now. It's like kind of a sucks to be you if you don't have a computer. Haha. I've had a computer for years, and But
As you're plugging your motherboard in, you'll notice a small sticker that says XCOM does not run on this particular motherboard. Like just XCOM, everything else will work, but
yeah, that would that'll probably be my luck. We'll probably have overlooked like one really key thing to like the build because me and my brother, neither me or my brother have any experience with that. So that'll be I've actually thought about filming the process of putting that shit together and seeing if we can do it without breaking anything or dying.
well, the two sides of that are, I used to, up until the PC I just bought, last year, I've always built mine from, scratch. Well, not from scratch. Obviously, I didn't go like mine the silicone, but part by part. I never bought anything bundled, and it was always really easy. But that was also like 15 years ago, and now I look inside a computer and I don't even know what anything is. It's like, huh, that looks like a Tesla coil.
Yeah, like it'll be really interesting that like because when you're on a budget, you can't like splurge on like you got to think about like how you're designing like your computer, and really it's what goes into it that's the important part. So like this computer, like the insides of it will be great, but the case is literally just a fucking black box. Like there's just nothing to it, and like that, and that's all you need. Like you
Right.
just need something to hold the stuff and make sure you have a good fan and shit going on. But
Stupid power supply is more important than you would think it would be, but
oh yeah, and then that was the first thing my brother told me is like, power supply is the big thing. If that burns out, you're fucked. So,
even if it doesn't burn out, like I've had ones in the past that don't provide a steady like current when they start to go, and that's really bad for a system. But yeah,
yeah,
I'm
like
sure it'll be entertaining. That would be something that'd be worth like not just recording, but like live streaming.
yeah, we have no way of doing that.
Yeah, that'd be weird. Like,
Like we have to we're going to have to build it probably downstairs cuz it's the one place where we won't get like fucking we'll be guaranteed not to get any like static electricity bullshit going on. Like you got to that's where our like hardwood and shit is. So.
yeah,
And there's no computers downstairs. It's just
you
all up
better
here
at
in the
least have a
heat.
tweeting device with you so like I can follow along.
All right, I'm about to plug this in. Wish me luck.
Zap. You actually tweet the word zap.
Zap. And then like next tweet, who the fuck didn't wish me luck?
It was Derek. He's been
Yeah,
curiously absent.
yeah. I think he's gone. I think he outgrew video games.
Mhm.
I think he. I think he's a devoted, hardworking family man,
Family gets you every time.
and yeah, fucks you up. Do what I do. Be completely alone. You be
uh,
completely alone. You'll get a fucking free computer, and you can just spend it on video games and just be like, what the hell am I doing with my life? But that goes away because there's a new release every month or two.
mhm.
And
What's
there's
the? I know Phantom Pain comes out Tuesday, but I know that there's something else that's
Mad Max.
ah yes, that looks very interesting. Except for I haven't like watched any of the gameplay stuff. Like they announced it, and I read a little bit about what because when they announced it, you're like, that's great. What is this going to be? Because Mad Max sets itself up. It could be so many different types of games.
The last trailer I watched for it, like they did kind of an interactive trailer, which I fucking hate
Mhm.
because it's like just show me like the goddamn content. Like don't be like, do you want to see what it's like if we go loud? Click when for us to go loud, and it's like to see all the gameplay options. Like you have to just like rewatch the trailer like 3 times, and it's stupid. But what I saw of it, like kind of that game looks so weird. And it's one of those ones that I know I'm gonna just have to wait and see because I've heard people say positive things about it, but I watch these videos and I kind of get this vibe of like I don't have a lot of faith in it. I don't know enough about it to be like, oh, I can trust these guys to make a really cool Mad Max game. It's like it might be cool, or it might be, just sort of a very bland action car game, and it was kind of the same way I felt about like Shadow of Mordor, where it's like, if they were doing everything they said they would do, then that game could be fucking great. But and it ended up being okay. I didn't think it was as good as other people did, but hey, there's a dog in the background.
Oh, you mean in the video? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably pop it up. So, oh no, I know she's gone.
Oh no, she's
Yeah,
camera
she's
shy.
kind of behind my shoulder there. Oh, there's a foot there too.
And there's what if like just a bunch of feet and stuff, like you're in like the ring or some shit. It's just all sorts of terrible things
Well,
are happening in
in
your house.
fairness, there's been a rumor for years that if you listen to the Njoycast podcast, you die shortly afterwards. Sometimes
By
during.
your own hand.
Right.
So yeah, I like it's like that's a game I'm kind of waiting on. Uh, honestly, I want to see what other people think about it before I run out and buy it.
Yeah, because I've heard people talking about it, but I don't think reviews have. They must still be under embargo.
Yeah,
Because I don't remember seeing reviews for it. But
which is weird considering like we've been hearing about fucking Mario Maker for like 2 weeks.
yeah.
Like that game's making the whole review process seem silly.
Well, and then even Phantom Pain, those reviews dropped, and when your embargo is worse than like Konami's, there's something wrong there. But
Yeah,
yes,
well, it's like it's so weird because it's like I was watching the Giant Bomb guys stream some Mario Maker on their Unprofessional Friday show, and like they Nintendo sent Mario Maker out. It feels like to fucking everybody except us. Go
yeah.
figure. Um,
Derek probably. That's why we haven't heard from him. He used his joystick credentials to get Mario Maker, and then he took off with it. Like, haha.
he would never fucking enjoy Mario Maker. He hates Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. Um, but they were like talking about like, yeah, there's certain stuff like we can stream it, but we can't show you a lot of Super Mario Bros. 1 stuff. And it's so weirdly specific, and it's like we know like everything you're saying like we can't show is stuff they've shown at E3. Like it's like
Well, and the other weird thing about it, and I mean, I guess it shouldn't be, but a lot of times when there's these weird embargo dates or weird restrictions, it's because it's broken or bad, and they want people to fall for it and like buy it first. But
right.
Mario Maker, I haven't seen a single bad thing said about the game. People
Yeah.
are loving it.
Yeah.
Even though they can't officially. Well, I don't know. Maybe reviews for that have dropped, but I don't remember seeing actual like scored like written
I don't think
review
reviews.
pieces.
Yeah, I don't think reviews are out, but I've heard nothing but like positive coverage.
Right.
I've seen some Phantom Pain reviews.
Yes, those ones hit last Friday, I think, or Thursday or Friday, and those have all been really good.
Yeah, but good in like a way I didn't like. It's surprising. A lot of the reviews, like the one criticism I'm seeing is that the story is not as crazy as like
Really,
some of
because all the screenshots I've seen today, he's running around with a fucking chicken hat on.
Yeah, he has like a fucking horn coming out of his head and various links, and it still looks absolutely batshit. But apparently it's more grounded, and it's like that's weird. That's weird in its own way. Like
Yeah.
like if he just made like somehow after all this, Kojima finally just made like a military sandbox game, but I've heard nothing but good things. I'm pretty excited to play it. I'm pretty excited to own 2 copies of it. I've already pre-ordered it for PS4, but now I have a PC version coming.
Well, you could always apply that pre-order to something else.
I mean, like the PS4 pre-order that was for my brother. That was one of his birthday presents. So, if he wanted to, I'd of course let him use my computer if he wants to play it on that. I don't give a shit. But in his mind, it's like, fuck, dude, we owned like fucking 4 or 5 copies of Metal Gear Solid 5, so, or Metal Gear Solid 3. Sorry, uh, and he's like, in his mind, it's like, I don't care how many copies of it I own. It's going to be awesome.
Right.
It's like, all
He
right.
needs a copy to cuddle when he sleeps anyway.
Unlike me, I fucking dread when a game has just enough to force me to rebuy it. Like the Devil May Cry special editions, like a Devil May Cry 3 special edition, Devil May Cry 4 special edition. I love those games, but I fucking hated having to buy them twice. I always did it with like gritted teeth.
Yeah. I, that reminds me, because if it's not out, I thought it came out this week, or maybe it comes out soon. The Dishonored, the remastered for PS4 and Xbox One.
Oh yeah.
If it's not, like I said, if it's not out, it's out very soon. And it just made me smile, the thought of Corvo the bumbling assassin in like HD that you could actually stream. But I assumed that was not one that's on your like list of rebuy.
If only because I already got all like the Dowd DLC, and I've already played through that and stuff. So it's like, I wouldn't rule it out, because eventually there will just come a point where I'll probably be tired of like hooking up my Xbox and shit to play games.
Haven't they announced Dishonored 2 though?
Yeah. Like this was sort of, the definitive edition was sort of them trying to hype that up. Like by having a release, but like Dishonored 2, I think like they're trying for like next year or year after.
So yeah, I mean, and when I said that, like I didn't assume that was one on your buy list. That made it sound like you didn't like the game, and I know you did.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
But yeah, it didn't seem like one that you loved so much that you would buy it again.
And it's that thing of like, if I had never bought the Dow DLC, then I would probably do it just because that's new content and stuff.
Right.
And those are really, if you didn't play that DLC, like buying that definitive edition would be worth it, I think, for those packs alone, because they're so fucking well designed.
Yeah, I thought that most people liked the story in the DLC better than the original.
I personally did. I thought, I mean, and it's partially because like Dowd mechanically is a little cooler, I think, because he can, like, when he teleports, he freezes everything. So like you can jump and then like lock in and then just sort of aim where you're gonna teleport to, so, like, and you're just in midair. And mechanically that was cool, but also because like Dowd is an actual character, and there's still that whole like choice thing aspect to that game. But like playing as somebody who's not just this sort of silent mask is a little more satisfying than Corvo, who had to, he had to become my character, the bumbling assassin, for me to really embrace him.
Yeah. There was it's funny because Major Nelson tweeted it out, and about the remake or the remastered edition of Watch Dogs, because that's either out or coming out as well. But that got me. It was funny because his tweet was met with your typical internet responses of, this game sucks, why would I buy it, I'm never going to play this again, I've never played it, never will. It's like, well, that's a stupid comment. Like, it's like, I have to tell the world I hate this game that I haven't played. But
well, welcome to the internet. I'm telling you, I'm never going to play Heroes of the Storm, and I'm going to do it every time you talk about it.
So, you say that, but once you have a PC, I give it a.
I don't know.
There's parts to it that I think you would like, as far as like having to like learn the complexities of the different mechanics and the timings, and it's very, very much based on you successfully pulling off like your strategies, positioning and timing and skill usage and stuff. But I think the part that you would absolutely hate is that you have to do it with other people, and 90% of those other people are just like the worst people in the world, like terrible people.
And I've gotten a lot of my fill of that with like Splatoon this year.
Yeah, and Rocket League, really, but at least Rocket League, you don't have time to like stop and chat. But
I've
I
really I've been playing more multiplayer stuff this year now that I think about it than I think I ever have since I've been with the site.
I think the part I like about multiplayer is there's not when you're playing single player stuff, you have your AI and whatever, but it's all well, it's artificial. Like if once you learn the systems behind it, you're really just going through patterns and whatnot. With people, it's like actual competition. That can adjust to you. You never can 100% guess what they're going to do. Uh,
Right.
on the flip side, you don't have your usually AI doesn't like they're not complete asshole like trolls. Like although that would be fun to put into your game if you were making a game, just make the AI be complete jerks like real
Be
people are.
worse than any human being you could ever run
Right.
across.
I was having fun. It's funny with a game like Heroes. For the most part, there's I don't play a lot. It's not like Dota or League of Legends is really bad for it too. Where I mean, it's really just people that are vile and toxic and jerks. And um, and I'm obviously not saying everybody that plays those games is that, but when you play them, you're going to run across that a lot. Heroes, for the longest time, it was perfectly fine. Most people were friendly and cooperative and whatever. You'd have your occasional jerks. And then you go through these like periods where there was like 1 week where every single game I played just had complete they sucked at the game, and that sucks because you're screwed. It's a team game, so if you're on a bad team, you're screwed, no matter how good you do. But then they're just not fun to play with. And then it went away, and then it's kind of come back. Last night I had a match. It was fun because like out of the 5 teammates, like 2 or 3 of them were like kept like, "Oh, you suck." My to me, my character, like, "You suck. You're playing completely wrong. Oh, that's the completely wrong skills. You chose all the wrong skill." I'm like, this is the most common build in like professional competition. The guy's like, "Yeah," and everybody else chooses wrong. I'm like, okay, and
I would know. I'm fucking
well, and
Joe
that's why he said he goes,
Shithead.
"Well, I main that character." It's like, well, that doesn't mean you're good at it. It just means you play it a lot. I mean it too. But it was funny because
You know
they
what?
spent
I main Ken on Street
Street
Fighter.
Fighter.
Come play me.
Yeah.
Fucking
So they were bitching like the whole round, and at the end of the round, we got our asses kicked. But I led in literally every single category. Like I had the least deaths, the most damage, the most like structure damage, the most experience by far. And it's like, yeah, maybe we would have done better if you'd stop bitching at the one person that's doing it right and like just play. But
well, I that's something I think Rocket League kind of not teach me because I don't like to talk anyway to strangers on the internet. They might scare, they
scary.
might take me away. But like, I've caught myself playing Rocket League. I'm about to be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And then I like have to stop, and it's like that's not gonna help.
No.
If anything, they're just gonna like keep fucking with me just to spite me. So
Right. And it's funny because there's like a better ways to handle that stuff, but I am
like
not the
block.
better person. Like I fall into that trap every time. Like now I'm smart enough not to just like start like cussing back at him because what's that do? But although one of my favorite experiences in all of multiplayer gaming was I was playing a match of Heroes a couple weeks ago, and some guy was doing the same stuff to everybody else on the team. Although, ironically, he said that I was the one person on the team playing well, but I was spending my whole time like I literally would stop in the middle of the action and die because I was busy responding back to him, like reverse trolling him, and it was great because the rest of the team was just like rolling on the floor. Because when I troll somebody back, or when I respond to trolls, it's not just like, no, you're the stupid one. It'll be like the most inane shit you can possibly say. And but it was just great because it was like the one time that your jokes actually had like a cheering audience behind them.
This today's games of Heroes of the Storm were recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Right, right. That's all it needed was that canned laugh track. But anyway, that's online for you. You have that in games or in
But I noticed like you
forums.
tend to talk about like that more than, and I think that's something that is very much more common in sort of the PC multiplayer scene. not to shit
Well,
on the new master race that I'm a part of, uh, but like,
communication is just easier on PC because you got the keyboard right there. You can type in the
right.
chat.
And that's not good in a lot of ways. Like
No,
people sometimes should not have that direct access.
we've talked about it before because Nintendo always makes a decision in their multiplayer games when they even allow multiplayer to basically take away all ability to communicate in the game, and we're always like, "Come on, Nintendo!" But Blizzard did the same thing with Hearthstone, and I think in certain app situations, that's the best fucking thing you could possibly do. Um, even Rocket League on I you have the voice chat. I've never really heard anybody use it. I've accidentally used it, and I know
Yeah,
you had that great story about it.
right.
But I don't know that it even comes through. Like the few times I've tried to use it to actually communicate, I always just get back in text like all I hear is like echoey jitters. I don't think it works real well. Um, but you can type in Rocket League, but they include that like auto response, like the quick menu,
Yeah,
and
and
you pretty much it's just easier and quicker to do that than to stop what you're doing and try to type an actual message in. So
well, I mean, and I think sometimes it conveys it better than like trying to use their chat deal, where it's like it's better to just sarcastically keep saying "what a save"
yeah,
when
or
your
like when
guy
your own
fucks
teammate
up.
knocks it in, say nice
Yeah,
shot like 8 times until it
yeah,
cuts you off.
yeah. You're timed out. You can't keep talking, but like I think that in some ways is better. I don't know. I think a lot of that multiplayer communication came out of a time where we all thought like kind of esports shit, where it's just like, all right, we're going to point B. Get my six, and
Oh
like,
man,
and
Counter Strike, that was always the best, like worst.
yeah. But it was like in Counter Strike, it was fucking hilarious because you'd have one asshole who would take it
Rush
really
B, rush
seriously.
B.
Yeah, we're
Everybody
rushing.
rush B.
All right, follow me. We're rushing A, and then we would just watch him run off and get sniped,
And
and
then
then
spend the
just
next 10
yeah, and
minutes
then
bitching, you didn't rush A.
yeah, and then fight. Yeah, and then he'll just bitch, and it's like, well, yeah, we're going to B. There was a sniper at A.
Yeah, that's where and that's where, like, if you were seriously playing with a team, that communication is vital, especially in something like Counter Strike or Heroes.
That's
Rocket League, not as much, but I mean, it would still be helpful.
sure.
Um,
Um, but that's the thing. Rocket League, I think a lot of the communication I'm tempted to do is always like bitching, and it wouldn't be constructive because it would just be
mhm.
like, because they would just take it for what it is, me yelling at them. So I never do it because it's just like, if you don't know already that you should be like how you should play a setup and that you shouldn't be in the net when we're on the other end of the field, like if you don't already know that, I'm not going to tell you that. Like, you're not going to be receptive to me being like, what the fuck are you doing?
Apparently, I'm the only person in the world that doesn't understand how to play that fucking game, though, because every match I play, even when we lose, like my other two teammates will be like, oh, 750 points, 640 points, Steve, 70 points. It's like, because I know you get points for things like clearing the ball and shots on goal and
Right.
centering and stuff.
So, but I've had plenty of games where it's like I've been doing a lot, and then it's like I still only had 80 points. Like, because there are certain things you do that you're not gonna like, you don't
I know,
get points for.
and I think I care too much about that stuff because when I say that, I do stuff all the time, and I feel like I'm fairly good. I mean, I suck at the game in that, like, still maybe 3 out of every 6 attempts on the ball, I whiff terribly because I completely misread. That's 50%, but so it's not that bad. But yeah, I mean, I still have those embarrassing moments where the ball's coming right at me and I jump up to block it and like
You
completely
fucking
miss.
whiff. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like strategic wise, I feel I'm pretty good at the game, but I have so many rounds where I get like no actual points for it because all the little things that you're doing aren't the like measured, metrics for that.
Eh,
But
I'm all about the team.
yeah,
So
except for it was frustrating because it took me like 2 months to get to pro level, like on the
it
points.
didn't take me that long. I haven't played Rocket League lately
I haven't
much.
played it much, but
Uh, I play it with friends. It's a great fucking drinking game.
oh, I bet.
Uh, in the sense that I'm belligerent, and uh, but we just talked about it. That's another thing I'll be able to do with a computer Fucking Counter-Strike. Have not fucking played that in years. And I can finally go back and
No. We're not allowed to play first-person shooters on, within joystick. Well,
well,
Counter Strike's great. And I don't know why I haven't because I still have it from forever ago, and so many hours of my like high school, between high school and college, were Counter Strike, either online or at like actual LAN parties where we'd stay up all night playing it.
yeah. Like pretty much like I remember playing that game like almost daily for like a year. And I think I was only good at it for 1 week in the summer.
I I was never. We've talked about this before too. I was never like. I don't feel I was ever at a level where I could have like gone and seriously competed in like
Oh fuck
pro
no.
league or anything. But as far as playing online, there was a long period where if I wasn't in first or second place, I was disappointed in my performance because I was, on your random matches online, I was very good. But that was a long time ago, and I guarantee I wouldn't be there now.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember really wanting to play Global Offensive when it came out, but that's a game that like you Counter Strike more than any other shooter. I feel like you need the mouse keyboard setup.
Yeah, I played it. I can't remember. I might have even got a review copy of it, or maybe I just bought it on 360 because it came out PC and 360 at the same time, and I was kind of curious. I don't think I had a gaming PC at that point. Um, it didn't feel the same by any means. It's such a Twitch shooter. The mouse is very important to that. But
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Excited about the world of possibilities. I'm excited to be one of those shitheads in the comments who's always like either fucking whining
well,
about the quality of the PC version or being like, I'm glad the console version's fucked. I'm happy that you're all miserable.
we'll be able to team up in Counter Strike and play and be like, yeah, man, last night I smoked so much pot. I smoked a lot of pot right now, man.
I'm smoking a lot of pot now, but I smoked more last night,
And you
and it
have
was
to keep calling
fucked
it
up.
like pot or just weed or so, to the
Swank
point where it's
or
obvious that you've never even seen it in real life. But
some shag. I'm just making up words. Like I don't know. I've heard so many like different like names for pot, and they're all fucking bad.
yeah, you can really call it whatever you want. But
Did you see the maybe you retweet, maybe this was a retweet from you, but somebody like tweeted something like there's like this mascot going around,
yeah, it's in Ohio
and
here.
it's in
It's like,
Ohio,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's a
It's
superhero, but he's like fucking some
yeah,
gross
it's like
green.
Bud Man or something. He looks like a pop bud. Like, and that's the brave, whoever's in that costume is the bravest person in the world, because it's just a matter of time before some pothead goes and tries to light him up. Like, and those styrofoam mascot costumes, I imagine once they
It's
get lit,
yeah.
just like napalm melting to your skin that you're never going to put out.
Imagine him running down the street on fire and try not to smile at the thought of that.
And nobody would be trying to put him out because everybody would be like running up to him and going, "Oh man, this is some good
Yeah, this
shit."
that reminds me of my college days. Those were some crazy times.
Yeah. Good luck to them. This is like the eighth time, like the eighth election in a row that, or voting season in a row that they've tried to eat. They haven't even gotten it on the ballot. Like they've failed to do that. And that's one thing I've noticed about um, just that particular, like the legalization crowd. They're like, yeah, man, most people are for it. It's like, not most people don't care one way or the other. Like, you've got you guys that are for it. You've got a lot of people that are against it. And then you got a lot of people like in my camp where I'm not going to vote to legalize it. I'm also not going to like leave the state if they do because I don't care that
I,
much. But
I don't agree with that. Like I think you got to really consider because I think pot is really stupid. I think it's an absurd waste of money. Um, but I don't. It is not something that should be like a fucking criminal offense to me on any level, unless it's like something that we already have certain laws for, like DUIs and stuff. Like, if you're under the influence of pot, yeah, you shouldn't drive. Um, and that's stuff is
Yeah,
wrong. But
and when you
just
legalize it, that doesn't change. That's what's funny is the people that act like that's going to change, and it's like,
yeah, I've had so
that's
many people like tell me like they're good drivers when they're high, and it's like
yeah.
you're
I've heard the
not.
same about drunk. Like, I drive better when I'm drunk because I pay more attention. I'm like, A, you're an idiot. Pay attention when you're sober, and
Yeah,
B, I don't care how much you think you're paying attention. You're drunk. That's the problem. Like, that's just
that's
like
so.
the people.
I don't really care if you're heading into like that wall. I don't care how focused you are on it.
Right.
Your reflexes are very
Well,
delayed still.
it's like the people that
Um,
tell you, like, oh, when I get drunk, I can act so sober. Nobody knows I'm drunk. I'm like, we all know you're drunk.
yeah,
Like, you think you're doing a good job hiding it, but you're
yeah.
not.
I I actually had kind of a. I wasn't driving. My friend was driving. So kids always have a friend who has to drive because they have to work tomorrow. That's my message to you. Um, but we went out to eat at this place. I tweeted about it. We got like this place had like poutine burgers, and
Oh,
I don't know. Like I actually didn't know about poutine until like a year ago. It's just gravy, French fries, and cheese curds, and it's pretty great. And you put it on a burger, it's amazing. And they also had some pretty good beer there. Um, so I got pretty fucked up over dinner, and then we had to go to the grocery store. And I go to this grocery store; it's just by where I work. But suddenly you're in that like, oh shit, maintain. Like, don't let
yeah.
anyone, because these people see me every day, and I can't be in here just like sloppy drunk. So it was so awkward and uncomfortable because it's like, fuck, now I have to. How do I normally act when I'm in here?
Right. And I think that's the problem because you're like, okay, got to act normal. Okay, I'm normal. How are you today? And it's like, I would never
I
ask them how they were today if I was sober. Like,
I never like, hey, great. Like I'm never like fucking captain friendly with them. Like, uh,
see, I'm always like, oh, you got to start conversations so then I can prove I'm not drunk. It's like, or you could just keep your dumb mouth shut and like,
yeah. But on the idea of like pot legalization, like and I did, like we had that vote,
so it's
last time.
you were the deciding vote there. And
Yeah. I already got it legalized. You're welcome, everybody. Um, but no, like even though I have no interest in it, I think it's wrong on many levels to make it like an illegal deal because like there are dangers to it, but they're really no different than the dangers of any other fucking thing that we have every day, like alcohol
yeah.
or whatever. Like, so it's if you're just getting fucking baked while listening to this show, thank you.
Yeah, well, it
Uh,
probably helps. So maybe we
yeah,
should like legalize it everywhere.
yeah. We need more Ohio listeners, Steve. Get out and
Maybe I
vote.
can get that on the ballot. Be like, okay, we'll legalize pot in Ohio, but you can only buy it if you listen to the Enjoystick podcast.
You get a coupon code if you listen to our show
Yeah.
for your dispensary. Um,
Yeah,
but
see, like I
yeah,
said, it's one of those issues that like I have no desire to vote to legalize it because I just don't care. But I'm also not like so strongly about it that like you say that and me be like, you fucker, I'm never talking to you again. Of course, I politics is stupid to be like that anyway because whatever.
well, I
But
mean, I
no,
think like,
if you told me you were voting for Trump, then maybe we'd have to end it right now. But
oh, I am because he's got a guy who will take care of all of our fucking China problems. That's what my
he's got
brother
a
told me.
he's got a guy, a Chinaman, if you will.
No, like he like said something about maybe I'm confusing two stories, but apparently this is all secondhand from my brother, but it was funny, so I don't care. But apparently his plan to take care of like China involves a guy he knows named Mike, and it's like And it's such like, all right, you're gonna go down the block. There will be a guy named Mike. He'll take care of all your economic woes. It's like, who the fuck is Mike?
What's
Like
his
that's
plan? I don't know. He just told me he knows how to take care of
it's,
China.
it's like, yeah, he's got a foolproof plan to take care of ISIS, but only if he gets elected will we know what that is.
You know, it was one of those things because it's always safe to get into politics on a podcast, but
Sure.
you know, Trump's name's been thrown around before, and it was one of those things in the past where they just hear the name Trump and they'd be like, you know what? He did like build up his empire, and he obviously knows how to run business and manage money. He might not be a bad. Then he had to officially throw his hat in the ring
Then he
and open his
talked.
big stupid mouth, and it's like, oh, for the love of God,
Oh, he's
no.
fucking. If anything, it reinforces not the argument that like hard work gets you ahead, but being a tremendous dick
Yeah,
gets you
yeah.
ahead in this
With like
country.
no grasp of like social issues or
Yeah.
really you can tell that he's been in such a position where everybody just kisses his ass for like the last like 30 years that everything he says he's not used to people like him saying something and people think Trump you're an idiot like because it basically his whole stance is I'm right because everybody says I'm right and it's like yeah because their paychecks depend on it
Yeah.
like
If they tell you, I don't tell my boss he's wrong, and I make substantially less than somebody who works for Donald Trump.
yeah you have way less at stake but
Anytime my boss says anything to me, I'm like, yeah, okay,
okay.
yeah,
Yes, sir. Right away,
sure.
sir.
Fine. Don't fire me. Even
I've
though
got
I,
Steam games to buy.
even though I like, sometimes in fact, a lot of times I work there, and I'd be like, if they fired me like right here and now, it'd be the best thing that anyone ever has ever done
But
for
see,
me.
you always have those daydreams of doing the whole like that half baked like exit or
Fuck you, fuck you.
right.
You're cool. Fuck you.
I'm out. But where Jim Brewer, who's coming with me? And like everybody's just looking at him like, we don't like you. Which that would be me if my response. I'd be, who's coming? Everybody would be like, none of us. Like, just go. But
I'll come with you. I'm gonna head right back, but I'll make it feel like you're not
the
allowed.
security guard, well, I'm coming with you just to make sure you don't steal anything. But yeah. But you always have those like grand fantasies of like, oh, if I got fired, this is how it would be great, and I would go out like that. You never would because you'd just be like, oh,
No, I wouldn't make a big show of it. Like I don't even have that daydream. I'd just be like, wouldn't it be great if I didn't have to come here again?
work, yeah.
Like I actually had a woman yell, "What is wrong with you?" at me at my job, which is the first time that's ever been directed at me. I've
You
thought it
should
to
have
myself a lot, but
you should have given her like my email address, been like, contact this guy, he'll give you a full list.
yeah, and I was like, it was annoying because it was everything that she was yelling at me about was her own damn fault. But
Yeah, it always is. Those kind of customers, it's
yeah,
hard
yeah,
because
I don't, fucking God. If you can ever help it, my advice for life, just don't work with people.
yeah. Yeah,
Like,
ideal job is like the Firewatch thing that they're making the game out where you're in the middle of nowhere with not a nary a person to be found.
yeah, that'll be nice.
You're up in a big fucking tower, so even if somebody does like wander by, you're still like 100 feet above them. Like,
And what is the enemy of that game? When someone shows up,
right,
that's when you actually have to deal with another person or thing. That's when it's a fucking. That's when it becomes a
right.
problem.
When there's just this voice on your radio and
I
it's a
always
woman.
thought I've always thought that like living on a farm or something and just living that life sounds like absolute hell. But imagine how isolated you are. Like once you get in your routine of taking care of all your shit,
And once you
like
smell like you've been working in the dirt and around animals all day, nobody wants to come around you anyway.
yeah, and you're fucking so far away from goddamn civilization. That seems pretty nice when you hang around fucking nothing but assholes for 3 months.
I procrastinate way too much though to be a farmer because you have to get up
Oh
like
yeah,
Like that's not an exaggeration. You're up at like 3 in the morning and you're actually
I
physically
can't.
toiling until like eight
I
o'clock at night.
I have 2 dogs and 3 cats. I can't take care of
Right.
them. I'm not going to be able to manage a farm, but
And so like
it is a
maybe
fun
for the
day to
first
me.
week you'd be like, yeah, I'm farming. This is awesome. And then like the second week would come and you'd be like, cows need milk, but I could play some more Rocket League.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
no, you can't. You're too far away from fucking
that's
anything. You can
true.
play Rocket League by yourself, but
So yeah.
who wants to do that?
So I guess Nintendo would become your best friend because those games, most of them aren't multiplayer anyway.
Or there's some like bullshit multiplayer.
Hmm. Although isn't that the rumor that the Nintendo NX won't even have a disk drive? It'll just all be
A lot of people, once again, like they read these rumors and they like get excited about it, but like, and that's fine if you were okay with the original ideas for the Xbox One, but tell me what has changed.
right.
Like if you were one of the people who like thought that was a stupid idea when the Xbox One was trying to do it,
But that was a year ago, Ben.
yeah. Now everyone has internet. Like, yeah, that
My
would be real.
my parents, who I used to use as an example of living out in the middle of nowhere with no internet, have moved into a city and they have internet now. So obviously everybody else does too, because I
Yeah,
don't have any personal examples of people I know that don't have it. So
yeah. I mean, I don't care because I'm not planning on moving to anywhere where I won't have internet. And if that
no,
happens,
that's like a
then
big
the
selling
bombs
point
dropped.
for me, right?
Um, but I'd like, I don't know. I just fucking bought my brother a new 3DS XL, so I already feel like I'm
Second.
Nintendo. Yeah, I already feel like Nintendo already has me by the balls a little bit.
That was something I was thinking about today. Is that the very thing that so many people like rag on Nintendo for, like, oh, that's stupid, your games are for kids and blah blah blah, are the very reasons that the same people turn around and like, I love this game because it's so whimsical. It's
Well,
like,
yeah, like that. That is like when they're like Nintendo's just all about kitty shit. Those are just fucking dickheads.
yeah,
Like,
that tends to be your Call of Duty crowd that we pick on so much.
and there's so many like Call of Duty fans like, what the fuck? I didn't say anything
I
about
know.
Nintendo. Uh, but it's just like I to me those types of games are essential. Like I think that says something about the power of it when it's like Nintendo doesn't. It isn't your one-stop fucking gaming platform. Like you're not gonna be playing Call of Duty on that probably. You'll probably be playing it on another machine. But I still buy every goddamn Nintendo system.
See, that's I think the thing is, and of course I'm not saying that there's a lot of Nintendo policies that are ass backwards, like the Mario Maker, like you can't show this part of the thing that we were talking about earlier. And Nintendo's whole reluctance, as a in general, to let people stream their games.
Yeah.
So I'm not a Nintendo apologist by any means, and they're not, no company is perfect, but I think you could make the argument that Nintendo is the console that understands their crowd more than any of the other consoles. Sony's been doing a pretty good job too. But
Sure.
it's like Nintendo does what they do, and it might not be for you, but if you like Nintendo, you're gonna like the stuff that they put out. I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
like a circular logic, but
It's not for you, but if it is for you, then it's for
it's
you.
for you. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like,
Right.
if you fall into their like, yeah, I like these kind of games like Mario Kart or um,
They're in this weird niche thing state, but it's a pretty powerful niche.
right.
Uh, niche. I don't remember how to pronounce it. Uh,
I I heard somebody pronounce it like Nike or something the other day. I'm like, I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced, but I'm fairly sure that wasn't it.
don't you hate that when you go like that was one of those words I went like 2 or 3 years pretty certain I knew how it was pronounced, and then like one person probably told me like "Hey, it's niche, dude," and then I that fucked me up for life. Now I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
And I'll never be certain about it again. Like I would have rather have just kept being wrong.
Well, it's one of those words that I love it in text because you don't have to worry about it. And then when you start talking, you're like,
Oh shit.
right. But I've long got over my like fear of mispronouncing a word because I do it all the time. Like I think I say my name wrong half the time.
It's not a fear. It bugs me when I can't like
Yeah.
figure it out on my own. And then I start to go go a little crazy, and then you get fired because you wouldn't.
It's Nish, damn it, Nish. That's what you should have grabbed that woman and like just started shaking her and like,
It's niche.
yeah, insisting on the pronunciation of a word that she hasn't even brought into the conversation at that point. Like, no, it's probably best general advice in any line of work not to randomly put your hands on a
Randomly
customer.
shake people,
Yeah,
even though
it
you
tends to
want
get you
to.
poor performance reviews.
Yeah,
So PAX Prime starts Friday.
that's right. And I will see you all there in spirit again.
If I had money, I would have had like a big like picture of Seattle printed that I could have put behind me and maybe sent you one so that we could both like do the show like, hey, we're here live from Seattle.
Just like get like Adobe Effects stuff where like we do the show, but we cut our outline out and then just like replace it with like a picture of the Space Needle like behind
Find
us.
like a stream that someone like Greg Miller, he's at all those things streaming. Like find his stream, but make sure that we line ourselves up so we're perfectly covering him. Just the background is.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's kind of weird, like how I almost like I've been talking about going to PAX Prime for years, and then like and now I'm just sort of like the idea of that event, just like the idea of that event, just like keeping track of what happens there, like when I'm not even there, exhausts me.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh, this got a new trailer, and this got a new trailer, and this, and we played this, and I don't, whatever. Just let me know when
See,
it's out.
and the thing is, people like Prime a lot. I think that's one of people's like favorite shows, both within the like industry and just fans in general. That's the thing with PAX. PAX is more of a fan show than an industry
Right.
show. But for me, Prime is always like one of the most, I won't say boring ones, but I'm least excited for it because it's that time of the year where we're probably not going to get a whole lot of like game announcements. Like you said, it's going to be here's a new trailer for this game you already knew about. Here's some
Right.
gameplay from this game you already knew about. Because the show happens like right before the fall release season, which is the biggest release season. So we're mostly going to be getting like basically commercials for these upcoming games shoved down our throats. Um, but we're yeah, I already feel like I get my fill, when you spend as much time on like the gaming corners of the internet, it's like if I want information about a game, you can tend to find it. And I'm just not that fanatical where like, oh, they introduced a new pair of shoes for this character. That doesn't get me excited. So
You can
I don't know.
buy a swimsuit costume for the guy in Final Fantasy 15.
So, and I'm sure there'll be cool announcements and some cool trailers, and there will be things to be excited about. But I just don't. I certainly don't plan on like making sure that I get home right away after work so I can like tune in and like watch all the live streams and stuff like I do with E3 or Gamescom. Um,
Yeah, I think that's part of what like the idea of it exhausts me so much is that it is a fan show, and so you go there and like everything you hear about from people is always positive, but it's always like, oh, I had a great time meeting all these people and stuff, and it's like if you're like me and like you kind of like social situations tend to fucking exhaust you, not because like you have a problem with like you think they're bad people, but it takes a lot of energy for me to
right.
like meet new people and shit and interact and stuff and not feel like a fucking douchebag. like like that stuff sounds like wow, a whole weekend devoted to that. That's fucking frightening.
Oh,
Like,
and when you're working it, it's funny. I'm glad that we've done it before, and I hope to get to do it again. But man, when we were covering East a couple of years back, doing you're filming, so you're dealing with your equipment and trying to have questions that don't make you look like a complete moron. Although I don't know how successful we were there. But then, like you said, just the energy to talk to people, um, and to do it like interestingly, because you can't when you're interviewing, you can't just be like, yeah, so
so
we
what's
got
your game?
yeah. Like, and that part, the energy part's a little easier because they're bringing it to, and a lot of developers.
Are
Um,
really excited to talk about
right,
their
right.
stuff. So
So that part's a little, but mentally it's exhausting. I mean, you'd get done after one of the days, and there was 3 days worth. I think Prime has four.
yeah,
Um, you just get back to your hotel and you'd be starving to death because you haven't eaten all fucking day because you're busy. But it's one of those where you don't even want to eat because your body's just like, nope, goodbye.
like you're in a place that's pretty cool. You could go out and get like some good food, but you're just like I can't move. I want to like curl up in a bed and not move.
Right.
They call
And
that
then,
the PAX hangover, but for me, it sounds like I would get that after one day.
oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah,
And the first time we went, I made the mistake of not making sure I had like the world's most comfortable shoes. Shoes are probably the most important aspect of a show like PAX because that fucking sucks. You'd get back, and not only would you be physically and mentally drained, but your feet were like, yeah, just saw me off at the ankle. Just
yeah.
like not even have a doctor like do it like actual and amputate. Just maybe have a dog chew your feet off because that'll feel better than your feet feel right now.
Yeah,
And
I actually I bring like I wear these Nikes I have to work because I'm on my feet literally the entire time at work. Like I don't think that building even has chairs anymore. Um, I think they're a myth, a legend. But so I wear these Nike shoes and they squeak every time I step. But it's like they're the shoes that are comfortable, so it's like I don't care if they annoy people. I'm like I gotta get around, and I know I'd bring those to PAX too. So you would be like, it would be great to like work a show with you because
yeah.
you would be trying to do an interview, and then in the back you can hear me like squeak, 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 squeak.
Which would be best, like, because you'd hear it like real soft over the din of the background noise and squeak, 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 squeak. And in the background of the interview, you'd see you just like walk by again. And
Yeah, it's like on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There was a episode where like two characters were like trying to get in the mind of a serial killer, and like they didn't want to actually kill anybody, but they just like wanted to like stalk somebody. So to get in the mind of a serial killer, one of them dresses up as like a clown, and like it's late at night and the girl's like walking home from work, and just in the back like behind her she just hears like honk 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 like with every step of the clown shoes.
see, I've got a pair of shoes that are like they don't do it on a normal basement basis, but if there's any moisture like whatsoever, it doesn't even have to rain. Like if it was just like really humid,
Oh, you walked into a like recently watered grass then.
right? And they're worse at like a store or something because you got nothing but like smooth tile floor. And a lot of times I've had shoes that are really bad, squeaky, but like after 5 or 10 minutes it goes away. But not these. It's just, but that's kind of great because that as much as it's annoying you, it's probably annoying everybody else more.
Yeah, like because I'm used to my fucking squeaky ass
Exactly.
shoes. Like that's just walking to me. But everybody else is like, God damn, those are some squeaky shoes, Ben. I was like, I know, but they're padded.
So I hope you do like you make it as bad as possible. So even when you're standing still, you're like wiggling your foot, so it's just like squeak, 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 squeak. Like I used to. I'm the kind of person you probably can. Well, I don't know. Camera cuts a lot of it out. I've got a pin in my hand, and I'm just like fidgeting with it because I do that if I have anything nearby to hold. So if you have like it was always like on car rides back from the restaurant where you have a styrofoam like container from your leftovers. Same thing. It's just constant like squeak, 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 squeak. But
Well,
speaking of annoying noises, you can catch us again next week.
yeah, we don't know where. we'll
Not
figure it
yeah,
out
not at
when
this
our
point.
hardware goes.
Maybe on Twitch, like
Maybe
the
on
real
Twitch.
gamers,
Uh,
or maybe on Google Plus, that up and coming social media platform.
yeah, Hangouts. They're fucking big now.
I'm
We
so
can do
glad
it on
this.
YouTube
That's-
Gaming.
I took a look at that, and I'm not sure that I'm on board with it.
Well, it's kind of like, well, I'm wondering what the hell they like. If you're gonna make an alternative, like, what is the alternative there? Like, what is it that you're going to do that Twitch doesn't do, or that like, what is it you're not going to do that Twitch does that everybody hates?
Right.
And like, I haven't really seen it except like them being like, well, you can just import it to your YouTube thing, like it connects to your YouTube channel or
Yeah, but so
something.
does Twitch, though. So I
Yeah, so
don't.
does
But I
Twitch.
assume with YouTube starting their own that they're gonna shut down that deal. I would think because that's
Maybe.
about the only bargaining chip that I can see. I went. If it's like gaming.youtube.com or something or games.youtube.com. I forget what the new because it just opened today,
Right.
and the UI the menu or whatever that you're greeted with when you go there is the most obnoxious, cluttered, hard to use. Like I'm like, nope. I took like one look at it and like not
Yeah.
convinced.
The way
Um,
I see it, fuck all this. I'm going to Hitbox.
I've never gone there once.
I
But
actually have. It's not too bad.
yeah.
Uh, it,
I'm a
like it's
Twitch guy. I mean,
functional.
Twitch isn't perfect, and
Hitbox is really like it's not slick, but like it's been pretty functional, which is kind of
I
nice.
think that's a big complaint about Twitch is there's so many like ads and
Right.
things that slow it down. But that's still the one that the majority of the people use, and the handful because I don't watch a ton of streams, but I've got a few. Um, and the handful that I do are all on Twitch, so I have them. It's nice to be able to go to my Twitch page and like just see that little icon in the corner, like three of the people you follow are streaming. It's like cool.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. Well,
Maybe we'll be one of them
uh,
next week.
well, and we stream all the time. I do. So
Yeah. So
follow me on Twitch. Yeah,
yeah. Find us on Twitter.
yeah, that too.
That's still a thing we use
Yeah,
sometimes.
God, it's so mirrored. Yeah, right there.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, official feed at Njoystick. You can find Steve at Phaser3D. You can find me at BP Matlock. We're done fucking talking this week. I'm tired of it. Fuck talking.
Goodbye.